piece of me?
Do I feel lucky? Well, do you, punk?
Good morning, Vietnam! I love the smell of napalm in the morning.
You're gonna need a bigger boat.
I feel the need for speed.
I wish I knew how to quit you.
Love means never having to say you're sorry.
You do. You'll shoot your eye out, kid.
What's up, film fans? Welcome to episode 286. Welcome to the Holdovers, and welcome to a new episode of the Cine-Men movie podcast. I am one of your hosts, Juan. I am joined by the cast of crew, our own version of the Holdovers. Zach, how are you?
Hey, what's up, guys? I'm doing good. How about you guys?
Good. Jay?
I'm doing great. I have a personal story to tell when we start talking about the movie because I've experienced the Holdovers before in real life.
Oh, all right.
So we'll get into it. Ed, to go? What are you to going?
Oh, nothing. Just the phone, not the computer today.
How's everybody's weekend been?
It's been.
Busy? A little warm weather out there today?
Yeah, getting a little sun.
I went out there and took Groot outside, my dog. That's my dog's name. I took him out, and we and him just laid there on the grass. So he was enjoying that.
It is a nice day to get into some grass. But we're getting into it, guys. We're already in March. We're 25% done with the year already. We're talking about a lot more to go. The Holdovers, but for some reason this episode kind of feels in limbo. It's stacked in between Killers of the Flower Moon and top 5 Martin Scorsese movies, and it's sandwiched in between the top 5 plus 5 of 2023. But that doesn't mean this is a sleeper episode. We have a pretty good movie to talk about. We're talking about the Holdovers. You guys can check it out on Peacock right now if you guys don't have it on physical media. But before we get into today's episode, let's talk about San Marcos Mexican Restaurant. It's our favorite restaurant to go to, 2301 Southwest 59th Street, right here in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. You can get those to-go orders at 405-685-7773. You can also visit oksanmarcos.com. Wednesdays, $5 Margarita Wednesdays. And don't forget the lunch specials. Let them know that the Cinema Movie Podcast sent you for 10% off your entire purchase. Great food and even better customer service. Let them know we sent you, and it's our favorite place to go. So
check them out. We sent you and get a discount.
You can also get some ice cold beer. So that's what we're talking about.
Hit them up on the strawberry frozen margaritas. My wife swears by them. Even she swears up by them. Margaritaville, she said, didn't even stack up to them. Not even kidding. Out in Florida. So try them out.
I've been to the Margaritaville in Tulsa.
I think so.
Margaritaville.
Yeah. Jimmy Buffett's Margaritaville.
The food just doesn't taste the same if you don't have little Margaritaville in you. But speaking of last week's episode, Killers of the Flower Moon, it's available on Apple TV Plus. You guys can go back and listen to our thoughts on that girthy movie. We also talked our top 5 Martin Scorsese movies, but also later in today's episode, we get back into the email bag before next week. I know, Ed, you tuned into a good episode. And then we have a lot more emails to get to next week. So everybody is just sending in their top 5 of 2023. So keep those emails coming. You're keeping me busy, which is good. But Zach, if they want to go back and listen to last week's episode, all the links are in the social media pages. How do they find the social media pages?
Yeah, we're all over all the different types of socials. Can't hide from us. We're everywhere. We're on Facebook.com/the Cine-Men Movie Podcast. Instagram, hit us up at /the Cine-Men Movie Podcast, all just one word. X, formerly known as Twitter, that's /Cine-Men405. And if you have any emails, likes, dislikes, recommends, want to know why Ed hasn't been available the last couple episodes, it's okay. Send it all in at cinemen921@gmail.com.
Excellent.
Good hate mail. Hate mail is the best part. Those are the fun emails.
I'd like to read those sometime.
Hey, you know what? Somebody told Zach to walk right into an oncoming traffic because he thought Die Hard wasn't a Christmas movie.
No,
Die Hard is a Christmas movie.
Yep. Well, really, they actually told me to go jump off a bridge.
There you go. Yeah, the bridge. I get it mixed up sometimes. Somebody told me to walk in oncoming traffic.
I've been told I can't be from Oklahoma because my accent isn't right.
Well, I almost got Sam. I don't know if you guys know who Sam Stackhouse is. He's my best friend. He's a pro wrestler. And I went into the locker room one day in front of everybody, and I announced it loud and clear. I was like, Sam has never seen Die Hard. And holy shit, did that get people mad at him.
Did you do that before or after the show?
Before.
Oh. I was gonna say if he got any extra chops for that.
He did. But he finally sat there and went on Vudu and watched it, and he was like, I missed out. It's a good movie. I've only seen Die Hard 4, but
you know what? This is leading into this segment. So speaking of missing out, it took multiple people to tell me about this, but I'm starting off recent watches this week. I finally started into The Office, and
great.
I'm into season 2. I just finished. What was the episode where everybody in the office finds out that Jim is like in love with Pam. So
okay.
I just finished that episode. Season 1, obviously, I flew by it. I finished it like in a day.
It was kind of rough, wasn't it?
No, honestly, like after the first episode or two, I just what's the second episode where they put
Diversity Day?
Yeah, Diversity Day. That's the episode that drew me in, and I just could not stop laughing. Yeah. So
I'm in season 6 right now, and Pam and Jim are engaged, getting ready to be married.
Oh no.
I'm not trying to spoil it, but it does happen. You know, you should know that by now, Juan.
I don't know anything as far as The Office goes. I stayed far away from anything as far as The Office for years. I think even Ed's tried to get me to watch it numerous times.
Yep.
Craig's tried to get me to watch it numerous times.
Is that why you sent me a picture of an award? Did you watch the Dundee Awards?
No. This prestigious thing I bought years ago to hand out for our awards here at the podcast, not knowing that this was an Office gag until Edward told me about it.
I actually own a Dundee.
Yeah.
I ordered one off of NBC.com.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I got this at a Party Galaxy for like $5.
Fuck yeah.
So.
And
but
then
yeah,
the Show Me the Money.
Yeah, the Show Me the Money, the one, yeah. So I've dug into The Office. I'm enjoying it. I checked out Willy Wonka, the new one from last year. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I didn't know it was going to be as a heavy as musical as it is, but
so it is a musical.
Yeah, it's very, very heavy. Yeah, on music. But I enjoyed it. You know, every movie has to be at least 2 hours nowadays, so I was kind of skeptical of how they're going to do the 2-hour thing with Wonka, but the story was good. The ending was great. It's going to be interesting to see where I kind of fit that in next week, if it gets fit in at all. The Marvels, highly disappointing.
I seen your review on Facebook, and I asked you, is it that bad? And you're like, it's bad. I was like, is it Madam Web bad? You're like, I don't know yet, but I haven't seen it yet, but it could be, basically.
It was not entertaining as well. The first 40 minutes, give or take, was probably like, oh, it's kind of promising. And then after they there's like a scene where the Cats theme is playing from the Broadway show The Cats, and I'm like, what are we doing here?
Yeah.
It's not fun at all.
From what I've heard, how they made the Marvels is that they made it by committee. They would sit there and film some stuff, and then they would see if it would fit. And if it didn't fit, they'd refilm some more stuff. And they were basically painting by numbers. They were trying to figure out what they could.
You know how
it did not work out.
You know how some movies after the pandemic felt real choppy, and it felt like they just did not know. This feels like a pandemic movie.
Mm-hmm.
So The Marvels was not very good. Rewatched the Holdovers for today, but you know what was really good and awkward and weird was Dream Scenario with Nicolas Cage.
Never seen that. Never even heard of it.
Nicolas Cage and A24 just kind of came together, and it was a pretty intense movie. It's kind of like a thriller, a drama, a comedy, and a horror movie all mixed into one.
The last Nicolas Cage movie I seen was Rainfield, and I thought that was fucking amazing. You could tell there's stuff missing from it, but I thought it was a real good movie.
So those are all the ones I checked out. I found out Priscilla that I talked about a few weeks ago is on HBO Max or Max. So if you guys want to check that out, Wonka is not streaming anywhere yet. If you guys want to check out the Marvels, go for it. I think it's on Disney Plus. But yeah,
or our Voodoo account.
Yeah, and then The Office is on Peacock. So Ed, what about you? We haven't talked to you in a few weeks. What did you recently checked out? Anything fun?
Kind of, yeah. So wanted to show the nephew why I'm at baseball most of the time. That's the reason. I wanted to show him Charlie and the Chocolate Factory and Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, the Gene Wilder and Johnny Depp respective versions. We have not seen Wonka yet. I don't have plans yet until it comes out on streaming or something like that.
It's on the Voodoo.
It's on our Voodoo page now.
So, sweet. There's that. He definitely liked the Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, the Johnny Depp one much more. He just got halfway through. I think he got to the Sugarland or whatever, the factory, and he wanted to go away from Gene Wilder, and my wife didn't necessarily like that. He likes the Gene Wilder Willy Wonka a lot better than the Johnny Depp Willy Wonka. She doesn't like the what's it called? The musicals, the musical numbers and all that as much.
If you want to be technical, Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory is creepy as hell.
It is. And that's what I kind of told her. I'm like, this one, she thinks that Charlie is a lot darker, which, okay, I'll admit that.
It follows the book more.
Yeah. But it exactly, it has a bit more of a backstory, for Charlie and for Willie, and all that. So there's that. I additionally, other than Vampire Diaries, we're on season 7 or late 6 or early 7, one of the two. All kinds of stuff is going nuts right now. So we're still on that. I additionally got to watch National Treasure. For some reason,
I love that movie.
I know. For some reason, I wanted to go back and watch that. It's just like, okay.
I'm still waiting on the third one.
Right.
I've heard the TV show is shit. So don't even try. It's a big cock tease.
And then final, I've kind of gotten a lot in. Final one, didn't get to finish much of it, but I think around halfway through Aquaman 2.
Oh, so I was about to recommend. That's what I've been recently watched. Besides The Office, I recently watched that. I made it to the point right where he rescues Orm, and I've dozed off every time.
I was maybe 15 minutes after that, 10, 15, somewhere after that. So
what is it on? Is it on Max already?
Yes,
it's on Max.
And I mean, parts that are good, parts that are bad, parts that, like you said, do make you fall asleep. It's okay, but it's definitely not the first one. You can tell they had to chop up. You could tell they had to change a few things. You could tell that some of it was rushed and some of it was slowed.
The whole baby pissing scene, both scenes of that was just, to me, that was just like, no.
Like,
when the movie starts off. No, well, I was gonna say when the movie starts off with him fighting guys on like a giant cargo ship to Born to Be Wild, I was like, oh, so this is the type of movie we're gonna get.
The part where the baby is messing with the fish with the radar, whatever waves or whatever happens.
First notice he's talking to fish.
Yeah, that I'm cool with. I like that. I thought it was good. Thought it was, a connection between. So I was just like, okay, cool. Foreshadow more opening up a
He becomes
possible future,
Aqualad.
right? And kind of go from there. But yeah, it. I don't know. I don't know. I'll have to resume and continue, I guess. But yeah, that's kind of what I've gotten into.
Nice. Jay, anything you've recently got into, or anything you want to recommend?
Well, the same as Ed. I've started watching Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom. It was pretty decent from what I got to see of it, but I dozed off before him and Orm because it's a buddy comedy movie basically.
Yeah.
It's Orm and Aquaman trying to stop whatever they're trying to stop because I don't even know what the hell they're trying to stop yet because I fell asleep before I even found out what the MacGuffin is. But and I'm also on The Office season 6, and I'm getting close to Jim and Pam's wedding. So that's what I've been watching.
Nice. Zach, you got anything you want to get off your chest? Anything good?
Yeah, very simple. Dune Part 2 went and saw in theaters last night. It's bigger, it's more epic, it's 10 times more than what Part 1 was. It is a little girthy at 2 hours. It's only like 10 minutes longer than the first Dune.
It's from what I've seen, it's an hour and 67 minutes.
Oh, are you talking about the
Dune Part 2?
80s? No, Dune Part 2 is like 2 hours and like 47 minutes. So I think you can watch Dune Part 1 on it's on Max right now. So I actually rewatched the first Dune just to get ready for Part 2, and that first one is still really good. For Part 2, it's on a whole other level. So if you get a chance, go check it out on the biggest screen you can. So
they've even on HBO Max, they've even added a documentary on the making of the first film.
Yeah,
it's called Behind the Scenes of Dune, and there is a damn near DVD quality copy of Dune 2 already out.
Isn't that crazy that that Dune Part 1 went straight to streaming because of the pandemic, and then Dune Part 2 like completely missed its 2023 chance and had to be pushed to March. Like, damn.
Yeah. I text you guys like the popcorn bucket I got and a shirt, and Johnny's like, "Is that going to be your top 10 of 2024?" I said, "Yep." And Madam Web will be in the top worst of 2024.
I watched Dune, but I don't remember it. So now that both of them are out, I'm going to go back and see if I can't, because it was confusing to me.
Have you watched original Dune?
Which one?
84.
From the David Lynch version.
No, I haven't seen any other version of.
Yeah, don't waste your time with that.
I know of it, but I've heard nothing good about
it. It was a little rough. But yeah, so there's recent watches or recommendations. If you guys want to share anything, like Zach said, hit us up in the email at cinemen921@gmail.com, and there you can hit us up and let us know your likes and dislikes.
So OKC Soda Company, they only use cane sugar and natural ingredients in their sugar. If I'm not mistaken, you can still pick them up from Crest Island or Homeland.
Yeah. Crest, Homeland, or you can visit their website. The easiest way to get a hold of them and find out where everything is on the Instagram page at OKC Sodas.
Me and Juan, and I think you have, Zach, have all tried several of them. Honestly, the root beer is amazing. The orange cream soda is good as well. The strawberry milkshake is definitely a unique flavor. So honestly, recommended if you've never tried it or tried a craft soda. I would strongly suggest going to at least give it a shot because
And from what Juan is saying is that they're trying to go into the medical marijuana drinks as well.
that is what they have stated. Yes. So whenever that happens and comes out, well, maybe
We'll
go grab some of that too.
we'll get to try that out as well.
Gentlemen, I'm going to use the restroom real quick. I'll be right back.
But other than that, guys, next week is going to be pretty big. I'm excited for next week. People are starting to send in the emails. Zach, what about you? Are you stoked for next Sunday? We're doing a noon or and / 1 p.m. start time since it is Oscar Sunday. So just a heads up for everybody watching who is watching right now on Eamswa Productions YouTube channel or Facebook Live. But I guess why?
Yeah, no, we're gonna. I was just gonna say, we're gonna do like an early show so that way if we want to watch the Oscars, we can.
But next Saturday, if you guys want to join us next Saturday, noon p.m. Central Standard Time, we are going to try to talk sports again. It's the Cine-Men Movie Podcast presents Sports Breakers. We're taking a break from talking about movies, and we're going to get into the world of sports. This is just a kind of like a pilot episode, if you will. We're going to try to get a format down and some conversation topics going on, and then the first episode, the very, very first episode, is going to be the Wednesday before the NFL draft. I have an exact date, but we're going to be running 3 times a week, every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday.
Cover all the bases.
Yeah, we're going to cover everything. We're going to talk about all different kinds of sports. Let me find the NFL draft date.
From what I understand, I've seen you guys had something for March 9th.
That's this Saturday, yeah. That's this Saturday. We're gonna, just like I was telling everybody,
episode.
Yeah, we're gonna get everything together and try to just see what it is. Zach, I know you don't do much sports. Ed, you are a huge football fan. You're also getting into some of the baseball stuff. Craig might join us, so it's gonna be a who's all is gonna kind of hang out and join us some days. So and then Kevin is gonna join us and talk all kinds of sports. But the first official episode is Wednesday, April the 24th, the Wednesday night before the NFL draft. And then
I can sit there and tell you
we'll talk some favorite sports.
I'm Kevin's roommate, and I can sit there and tell you that he's been watching the Combine like it's nothing. Like that channel, the TV has not changed from sports in the past week. He is researching big time.
Then,
and he's also going to be our Clerks episode.
That's going to be a fun episode. Edward loves Clerks. Jay, you love Clerks. Zach has never seen Clerks.
Yeah.
So
Kevin loves Clerks. Me and Kevin were known as Jay and Silent Bob for a while.
Oh, hell yeah.
I think it was should be fun. But today we are talking about the Holdovers. A cranky history teacher at a prep school is forced to remain on campus over the holidays with a grieving cook, a troubled student who has no place to go. Starring Paul Giamatti, Divine Joy Randolph, Dominic Stessa, right? Did I say that right?
Yeah.
And directed by Alexander Payne. IMDb score of 8 out of 10, 97 on the Rotten Tomato meter, and a 82 on the Metascore. At the box office, this film grossed a little over $41 million with an October 2023 release date.
And we've kind of guessed that it probably has a $20 to $40 million budget.
So,
here's the thing about Alexander Payne, the director, I didn't know about. I thought I was watching a movie, one of his first movies, but I've seen Election, Sideways, and Downsizing. Downsizing sucked, but Sideways and Election were amazing. Does anybody remember those?
I think I have Election. You're talking about with Matthew Broderick and Reese Witherspoon, right?
Correct. Where
Yeah.
he cheats and
yeah. That's the movie's great. And I can't remember Sideways. I thought I had it, but
Sideways is where they sit there and drink wine. They go to different wine countries and they drink wine and shit, and it's all sophisticated.
I've never sat all the way through it. But Zach, you're the one who picked this movie. You had nothing but high things to say about it. You had high praise all season long about it. Do you remember the first time you got to see this? Did you see it in the movie theater? And what was it like revisiting it for the episode?
Yeah, I think initially this had like a wide theatrical release in November. I think it was like the week, maybe in the same day as the Marvels when it came out. But I got to see it like a week early, like an advanced screening. Yeah, like I saw the trailer for it like a couple months ago. I was like, oh, that looks kind of cool, something different. I walked out and I thought, yeah, this is one of the best movies in my opinion of the year. And so I even had it in our top 10, top 5+5 Christmas movies. I think later down the road, this will be like a Christmas classic, in my opinion.
It was number 1 for you.
No, it was
4.
Was
it 2? It was 2, was it?
It was in my top 5, yeah.
It's pretty high.
Not to bust your bubble there, Zach, but the director does not look at it. He hates it when it's called a Christmas movie. I did learn that. He said it's so much more than a Christmas movie.
Well, I mean, I'm just saying, like, it's Christmas is in the background. I know there's so much more to the movie than that, but I just that's just what I think about it. And on this rewatch, I had the exact same thoughts. Just performances, direction, screenplay. It's just a very, very good film. So, what about you guys?
Ed, what about you? Was this the first time watch for you?
First time. I've never even heard of it before this.
Nice. What'd you think? A few short words.
Interesting.
For me, I checked it out literally the week it hit physical media. Zach, you hyped it up. I enjoyed it after that first initial watch. I didn't get it. I got it. I understood everything, but this second time around, man, I really just enjoyed the story and the way everything was laid out for you and the performances of Paul Giamatti. So, in a few short words, I thought it was powerful. So, Jay, what about you? First time watch, checking it out for the podcast?
It was the first time watch, but I kept seeing commercials during The Office because I don't have premium Peacock, and they would show commercials, and that was like 95% of the time when they would go to commercial, they were like, the Holdovers, don't forget, it's on Peacock now. And I seen the trailer, I was like, that looks really good. And then when you told me it was going to be one we're going to be discussing, I was like, well, you're going to have to watch it. But I thought it was a very good movie. I thought it was speaking of my personal experience of the Holdovers, I was once in a boys' home and I got in trouble at my mom's house. So I had to go back home for Christmas and spend my time at a boys' ranch with all the staff. So I have been a holdover. I was a bad kid growing up.
Did you separate your arm?
No, I didn't.
Or did you have,
I wasn't that stupid.
Or did you have a cranky teacher that just like hated everything about life?
Oh, we had what they were called house parents, and they were straight dicks. They were kind of like the Paul Giamatti character, where I don't care, it's Christmas time, screw it, and they were just kind of dicks.
Wow.
Speaking of Paul Giamatti, man, the dude's 56 this year, and we haven't talked that much Paul Giamatti. I don't know when we'll be able to talk about him again soon. So what are you guys' thoughts and feelings on the actor? Going into this, like I said, I've only seen like maybe a handful of Paul Giamatti movies, probably more than a handful. But it was just, he's
trivia for you guys.
He's the perfect like side actor, but as far as him being the main guy, I've only seen like maybe a handful. Fred Claus comes to mind.
Yeah.
One of his very first movies that he got recognition for was Howard Stern's Private Parts, where he played Pig Vomit.
Oh,
Howard's hated radio programmer.
I've never seen that movie.
Dude, it's hilarious.
It's on the Voodoo.
Is it?
Yeah.
Speaking of random '90s comedy movies,
he was great in John Adams too.
Oh yeah, John Adams. Did you guys remember? Did you guys see that Freddy Got Fingered is getting a Criterion release?
Is it really?
Yes.
Would you like some sausages?
I saw that today, and I just thought that was a pretty cool release. But yeah, anybody else have any thoughts on Paul Giamatti before we talk about the movie? Maybe some favorite, maybe a movie that introduced you to him, or introduced. Yeah.
I agree with you. I mean, I think he can be very good as a lead, especially with like something like this. But he's also outstanding as the supporting actor. Like Cinderella Man, the boxing movie with Russell Crowe, is very good. He was in Saving Private Ryan, San Andreas, The Truman Show, Straight Outta Compton. You didn't like him in Planet of the Apes? Tim Burton's Planet of the Apes.
It was all
right. What about Big Fat Liar? You remember he was in that?
I've seen that one.
Yeah, me neither. That's another '90s movie I haven't seen.
I know what it's about. It's got Frankie Muniz in it, correct?
Yeah. And Hilary Duff.
Amanda Bynes.
Oh,
yeah.
Isn't that where he steals his movie script and passes it off as his own, and
he like gets blue paint dumped on him and something?
Yeah. Because that was actually the first film I was introduced to him in.
My first film was Howard Stern's Private Parts when he played Pig Vomit, and seriously, that was his name in the movie. That's what Howard Stern called him, was Pig Vomit, because every time you look at him, he looks like a pig and he makes you want to vomit.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah, he's in it a lot. I've been wanting to watch his show Billions. That's on Showtime. I've heard that's a really good show. So,
but right off the bat, you guys meet the three, and then the rest of the holdovers, and boy, you meet the three right off the bat, and just three different stories, three different feelings. Just get all intertwined. What did you guys think of even though we don't get to hang out with them that much, what did you guys think of the rest of the holdovers?
You see, when I first saw the movie, I was kind of like, oh, that's kind of, I thought this was like a three character story, like a character study of these three different people. But then when like it's revealed that there's other kids that got part of the holdovers, I was like, okay, that's kind of cool. And like you can tell, like even outside of school, that they don't like each other, or they're just different cliques, and they're just trying to make the best of the bad situation. And then I'll be honest, like when the other kids got to leave, I was kind of like, oh, okay, so we're just kind of stuck with these. But the movie gives you a reason to care about these main three characters, and so.
And the one kid's name Kuntz that causes the most trouble before he takes off.
The one that looks like a Dollar General version of Zac Efron.
Yeah.
That was he was played like Bradley Hepner.
Yep.
I thought he did a real good job.
Yeah, he definitely makes you like dislike him.
Well, and really, I think the movie kind of plays with the idea that you're not going to like Tully, our main, played by Daniel Sessa, who's our main kid that we get to know and really come to like. I mean, in the beginning, he's kind of a dick. You're just like, why are we supposed to care? Why are we supposed to care about this character?
He's the champion.
But it makes sense by the end.
Yeah.
Edward, you hate kids. You know, in every movie you talk about, you always hate the kids. So I figured, I was like, man, if Edward watches this movie, he's definitely going to be on Paul Giamatti's side.
Yeah, I mean,
I feel like the kids irritated you probably
a bit, just because it was whiny, but like I can understand it, but at the same time, whiny. But then again, Paul Giamatti's character is I know it, and I know you don't fucking know it, so I'm going to go ahead and strut how much I know it and be an asshole at the same time to you because I know it and you don't.
Well,
you're the kind of guy, and it's like,
and that's the fun of that character. It's just like, like the first time we get to see him teach the class, like one of the kids says, "I can't fail." It's like, "Oh, no, I truly believe you can."
And that's where it's like,
well, I like how he was going to give him a second chance, but Angus speaks up and pretty much ruins their second chance. That's how you know Angus is a dick, and because he got a B+ on it. So why in the hell should he care if he has to make it up or not? But the rest of the class got F's and D's, and they need that makeup, and he's ruined it for them all.
To me, Paul Giamatti's character is like that teacher who you were like, can I go to the bathroom? It's me, ma'am, I will shit on the desk. Do you really want that, or do you just want to let me go to the bathroom? I will sit on the desk and let you clean it.
I had a teacher in middle school that was like that. Like if you said because, she would stop you and make you redo it and say it's because. And it was like that every single day. So and she wasn't a history teacher. She was obviously an English teacher, but she would make you stop, stand up in the middle of class, and say, "Can you say that again, but this time the correct way?"
Something else I liked about Paul Giamatti's character, which ironically is named Paul. I like how he just randomly just like says history facts that no one gives a shit about. And you're just like, why would you bring that up? I've known a couple people in my life that done that, and you're just like, okay, like when they're just sitting at lunch, having dinner, and it's just Mary and totally they're just sitting there like, okay, like no one gives a shit. Why are you telling us this?
Because it's useless information that he has to feel smart about because he is inferior in all other things.
Well, the scene where he meets his old high school, or not his old college buddy, and he lies about what he's actually doing instead of saying, "I'm a teacher at Barton Academy," and blah, blah, blah. He's like, "Oh, no, I'm doing this. I'm writing this, and I'm doing this." And that's when Angus was like, "I thought Barton men didn't lie." And
Well, and that's something that I did like about the movie was like the first one I think we really like their issue is Mary, who's the lead cafeteria lady. She lost her son in Vietnam. We figure out what happens to Tully, who his father basically went insane, is in a mental asylum. His mom is, dating some jackwad that he doesn't really care about. And then towards like the last 30-40 minutes of the movie, we find out what happened to Paul Giamatti's character, and he got kicked out for plagiarism, essentially.
And that's part of the reason why he doesn't feel smart enough, so he has to go ahead and goad kids to feel smart enough.
And not only that, he has to sit there and make the other students feel inferior, so he feels superior.
Yeah.
Ooh. Yes, sir.
Not to mention he's a little toasted every time he messes with the kids.
Yeah.
He's always
on Jim Beam.
Toasted.
Well, and that was something that I can't remember. Did they, in two viewings, I don't think they officially came out and said he was an alcoholic, but they played with the idea of it, obviously, when like he's like after he meets his like old college buddy, he goes and picks like a big bottle of Jim Beam up and everything.
Oh yeah, I know. I don't think.
If you remember the scene whenever they're in the infirmary and he's doing the stretches, and before he lays down, he takes a big swig off the Jim Beam. And even when they were having lunch, when they had their first dinner together, they sit there and they're like, "Look at this guy. He's lit as shit."
Yeah.
Like,
so I think he was I thought he was an alcoholic.
Even when they're off going bowling, and he goes up to the bar next to Santa Claus and has a little drink,
He tells him the truth about the Santa outfit. It's just like
bro, nobody gives a shit. Leave me alone.
You remember?
Just drink your Jim Beam and shut the fuck up.
You remember when I went and saw this movie and I was like, it's surprisingly really funny. Like, were you guys surprised at how funny it really was?
I thought it had its quirky. I thought it was quirky funny.
That's fair.
Yeah. Not necessarily like laugh out loud, but kind of like a little smirk. I personally thought it was going to be, when the very first time I saw it, I thought it was going to be dark and disturbing. I thought Paul Giamatti was like,
styles.
Well, yeah, I thought it was going to end up like some Shining ending or something. I thought he was going to like get fired for touching one of the kids or kill somebody or kill himself.
Okay.
Yeah.
Who sat there and thought whenever he was in the dean's office and they seen that bottle of liquor sitting on that desk, somebody was going to steal that son of a bitch?
Yeah. I figured. Yeah.
And I have a little trivia here that I got off of IMDb. It says the bottle of Remy Martin Louis the 13th Tres Villiers is worth about $10,000 today, or was worth about $1,300 in his time.
Wow.
I was hoping for him drinking as much as he did. And you're talking about the bottle when he got in trouble at the end, right?
Yeah, the bottle he stole from the dean.
So
that would be worth $10,000 nowadays.
I thought we would at least get them to sit down and have a drink together before the movie ended.
Oh no, I knew he was taking it. I knew he was still in it. I didn't know how. It was just Chekhov's bottle of liquor.
I thought it'd be fitting for the teacher and the student to have a drink before he left the campus and got fired.
I kind of find it interesting that on filming, for that matter, they used digital, and it had more of the film grain that they wanted.
Well, it looks like that. It looks like that 1970. It looks like a 1970s movie, like the aesthetic of the movie.
Yeah. Well, they used different films, and they said that it didn't match up correctly. That they'd even have to go and edit it to the grain that they wanted. I was like, that's weird.
Where they got very lucky from where they were filming at, because the storyline asked for a big snowstorm and for it to constantly be snowing. And they got lucky from where they were filming at that they happened to have a snowstorm and it happened to be snowing. And they lucked out there.
So what's funny about that, I've heard that it was either 4 or 5 different schools that they had to go around and film at.
Yeah. I've only heard it was one. It was like Deerfield or something like that. I did a lot of IMDb reading today, and they said that they filmed it at Deerfield.
There you go. Okay.
Huh. And it was the same school that Dominique Sessa graduated from.
Oh, nice.
Cool.
I think that there's one line in this movie that really sums it up perfectly, and it pretty much lost my words. It summarizes the entire, not only the film but the characters themselves. Is I believe it's Mary that says it, is that these boys are broken in body and spirit, and that's exactly what all 3 of these characters are essentially. Mary's a grieving mother. Tully is a kid who doesn't. I think he's trying. He's a trouble kid, but doesn't want to go all the way to military school, and just wants the love of his mother, even though his mother is just doing her own thing. And yeah, like we said, Paul is just kind of teaching these bratty kids who ultimately, at the end of the day, are there because of their parents' money.
All right, guys. One of our sponsors, Pieces Red and Blues.
Don't forget to check out Red and Blues Pizza. You can order now. They're open late, so enjoy them whenever you sit down and check out a movie or some sports, whatever you want to do. 405-602-2838. They do deliver with Uber Eats. Or you can check them out here locally at 4500 South May Avenue right here in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. They have pizzas, calzones, sandwiches, salads, wings, awesome family deals for less than $30. Or if you just want a pizza or 2, you can get a double deal for less than $20. Yep. They have fajita pizzas, cheeseburger pizzas, all different kinds. Just hit them up. We share them all the time on the Facebook page, so go check them out on the social media. But the easiest way, give them a call, 405-602-2838 to place your order now. And again, tell them that the Cine-Men Movie Podcast sent you and get 10% off an entire purchase over $20.
Now, I would say they are one of the few that are just as good there as they are with Uber Eats, at least in my experience, because there's a lot of places that isn't that good through Uber Eats, and you have a lot of stuff missing, a lot of stuff not right, and all that. That is one place that actually does get done right with Uber Eats, legitly.
I've only had one of our sponsors, and San Marcos was that sponsor, and I love that place. I'd like to try the cola, especially when they get to the marijuana variety. And I'd like to try the pizza place. I'd love to.
Honestly, can a less dose at the same time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have
What
enough
better way?
and a pizza.
What better way to enjoy your movies with some pizza and some marijuana soda?
Fuck
Um,
yeah.
some of the scenes that kind of hit the feels that you don't think that, oh, here's a Mister I done forgot what we were talking about.
Hunan. No, no.
Mr. Angus is not
Oh,
such a
Mr.
bad
Angus.
guy. What about the scene where he helps the little Asian kid when he wet the bed? He could have. I was expecting for him to make full on fun of the kid.
They
Because that
It
probably
was a very
done it
sweet
themselves.
It was a very sweet moment where he was like, "Don't worry, I have nightmares myself. Once you find a dry spot and just go back to sleep, and we'll wake up and hide the stuff in the morning so nobody knows and they won't crucify you."
Yep.
That kind of
Yeah.
shows you that he has some sense of humility to him and some sense of kindness in him.
I think he's a kind dude overall. I think it's just the people around him and kind of
Yeah.
the cards he got dealt with that kind of just always puts him in a bad mood. I have it here in the notes about Tully's phone call. That phone call set his tone for the rest of the movie. Um,
Yeah.
his parents or his mom was more worried about, going off and finally getting her me time with her new husband than letting Tully come home for Christmas. And that phone call pretty much set his tone.
Mm-hmm.
And another quirky moment that I find hysterical is, when he's making him like jog out in the snow, and he's like smoking his pipe, and like later in the film after after the other boys have left, and he's like, by this point he's like doesn't give a shit, and so he forces Paul to run up through the stairs, and he's like, well, don't you know Bartman are supposed to stay in shape, and like Paul's just huffing and puffing and
He
can't
does
catch him.
cartwheels through the hall.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
that was a fun
honestly,
scene.
I thought the most powerful moment in the movie was with and it's just, I think it's shot really well. I think Divine Joy Randolph, I think she's pretty much in the bag for best supporting actress at the Oscars next weekend. Is when she is looking at her son's baby stuff and she gives it up for her sister. And I thought, you don't need no dialogue. It's all in her face. And it's just a very powerful, sentimental moment of,
I don't
this
want to
was
bring
once
up.
my
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
no, this was my son's stuff, and so I need to give it to someone that will have use for it.
I don't want to jump to favorite scene already, but my two favorite scenes was whenever they were sitting there watching the Newlywed Game, and the first scene you get is her telling her side of the story on what made her click. Like she lost her son. She thought the teacher was her son thought the teacher was an asshole.
Yeah.
But you understand her as a mother that lost her husband young, and she lost her son young, and she's just trying to fill a gap in her life. But then the next time they talk, it's Paul Giamatti's turn to sit there and be like, "Well, I was romantic back in college. I almost got married, but just take a look at this face. Do you think this face looks like the type of face that would draw any women in?" But those two scenes right there they placated each other on giving you information about two people that were hidden most of the movie. Because Paul Giamatti's character is a complete dick to everybody, and this was the only time he seemed human.
Yeah,
that's true.
Well, actually, to jump forward even ahead, there's another like reciprocal scene of where after Tully breaks his arm, they go to the hospital and he covers for Paul. And then at the end of the movie, when Tully's parents comes and says, "Hey, did you take our son out for a wild vacation?" Paul, in turn, covers for Tully. And so, yeah, I kind of agree with you. It's very much he can be a human when the time needs to be. And so I think, and Paul Giamatti plays that really well in this.
Should we go ahead and say it's been nominated for 5 Academy Awards?
Sure.
Now would be a good time.
It's been nominated. It's nominated for Best Picture, Best Actor Paul Giamatti, Best Supporting Actress Divine Joy Randolph, Film Editing Kevin Tent, and Original Screenplay by David Henningsen. The only problem I have with this list is Best Supporting Actress because Divine J. Randolph was not a supporting actress. She was the main actress in the movie.
Yeah,
That's my only problem with that. She was the main character. She was the main female lead.
That's politicking right there.
Yeah, I don't really know like the criteria that they always like. I totally agree with you. I mean, she is the main actress in this. I don't really know like what their criteria is for someone to be a supporting and a main actor.
Now, if you want to sit there and say who's the supporting actress, it would be that other teacher, Carrie, the one that brings him cookies and stuff. That would be a best supporting. That would be a supporting actor. But Homegirl was straight actor.
Yeah. So, I think
you think that nomination helped her or hurt her as far as like, say she got nominated for Best Actress, then would it be such a given for Lily Gladstone? Or do you think, maybe they're like, hey, she deserves an Oscar. Let's just make her supported so she at least gets something.
I think they're. No, go ahead, Jay.
No, I just said I think it's that. Go ahead.
Oh.
Well, I was gonna say I think the reason she got supporting is that she does after they drop her off at her sister's house, she does kind of disappear until the end of the movie, honestly. There's really no more story for her left. So now we just focus on Tully and Paul.
I could have sworn, you'd have to really go back and do like, how long was she in the movie? But I could have sworn I read something that if you're in the movie 30 minutes or less, you're considered. So I don't know. I don't know what the criteria. I don't know what the criteria is or something. But I think she should have been nominated for. Can somebody get nominated for both? Zach, we had this discussion about Robert De Niro and Leonardo DiCaprio a few months ago.
Yeah. We also had the same. We had the same conversation with Judas and the Black Messiah. How Daniel Kaluuya and Lakeith Stanfield, it probably should have been opposite.
Oh
in their roles. So.
Yep.
Well, De Niro and DiCaprio, they had about equal screen time, so.
Yeah, that's true.
Because Leo's not even nominated, but De Niro's nominated for Best Supporting Actor. When one could argue that De Niro could have been nominated for Best Actor.
Mm-hmm.
So it'll be a fun conversation next week. I'm sure, next week's episode could be a little girthy. Usually we run like an hour 15. Next week is one of the only weeks where we may run a whole 2 hours. But next week is going to be fun because we're going to talk about all of our favorites from 2023. We're also going to give some predictions and maybe see who walks out with the main hardware at the Oscars. Ed, you kind of seemed a little hesitant at the beginning about talking about this movie. We're going to get to the little, it's not really a segment, but now we get to the part of the episode where we kind of maybe talk about if we had any nitpicks with this movie. Was this something that didn't stand out for you, or do you have any kind of issues with the, was it not a fan favorite for you?
It wasn't. Honestly, like I didn't really connect with anything or anybody. Jay, maybe I didn't have that experience, so it was just like something that I didn't, yeah, fuck that teacher. Yeah, these kids are little bitches or, whatever. I don't know. I can see a lot about why people would go ahead. Like, I can see why it's got its accolades and stuff like that, but it's just not really one for me. Like, it felt, especially after the beginning, after the beginning scene, the initial like rip on the class. And I think after the boys were meeting up in the street and having cigarettes or whatever and kind of introducing each other to everybody, yeah, it kind of just dragged a bit for me here and there.
Well, if I had, I really don't have any. I think if I had to nitpick, I think this movie's 2 hours and 13 minutes. I think you could have cut this down to 2 hours, maybe an hour and 50 minutes. Honestly.
Mm-hmm.
But even then,
I
like
agree with you there.
the 13 minutes, say, is like maybe the credits. I mean, if you had to take something out though, Zach, what would you take out? Because almost, I'm not going to say every scene, but almost every other scene is kind of pivotal in maybe the way somebody feels or the way the story was leading to.
The drinking bowling scene didn't need to be there.
That's true.
Maybe I wouldn't take this out because I like this scene, but maybe the Christmas party, the Christmas dinner, where they get invited to the other teacher's Christmas party. But you have that scene with
just that scene where he's eating the brownie, or the scene before.
Probably the scene before. Like, I like the scene because it shows that Mary is still grieving. Like, they all like find her in the kitchen, and she's just unconsolable. But I like how each one of them are like I think the janitor's trying to hit on Mary. The Tully is down there trying to hit on the niece, and the other teacher's trying to hit on Paul. So it's kind of like this weird. Everyone's flirting with each other, but a very like.
You think that other teacher is trying to hit on Paul until you see her man come into the party and she makes out with him, and he's all like, "Well, damn."
Yeah.
She's trying to get a throuple going on,
You also learn about Paul Giamatti's character's glance thing where he smells like fish.
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
I like how
I know what started with it.
That's what she wanted. She wanted a threesome with Aquaman and her husband.
I like how Tully also says, like, what eye am I supposed to look at? And at the end of the movie, he's like, it's the right one. He actually answers the question.
I asked you that a few weeks ago if that was a real lazy eye from Paul Giamatti, if it was like fake. I think that's fake. I still haven't.
It's fake. No, I looked it up on IMDb today, and it's a prosthetic. He had to do makeup for it.
Okay.
And they just went with hysterical. It. They just
because it makes a great bit. It makes a great bit.
Yeah, it looked good enough. That's why I had to ask Zach. I was like, surely he didn't like get in a car accident and get like a lazy eye or something. Look, Edward's doing one right now.
Anytime he done the lazy eye and had that lazy eye prosthetic in, he couldn't see. He was blind.
Oh shit!
Yeah, that's what I heard about that too.
Like just out of that one eye, though, right?
Yeah.
Fuck.
So any driving scenes were fucked. He was blind as shit in one eye.
And again, we're talking about this next week, but I have to ask now: do you guys really think it's a wrap in the bag for Cillian Murphy, or do you think there could be a dark horse in Paul Giamatti next week?
No.
I think Cillian has it in the bag, but it wouldn't surprise me if Paul Giamatti walked away with it.
Because sometimes they throw those curveballs at the Oscars. The Oscars are just like, we got to stand out from all the other awards this past few weeks.
Well,
he's got it in the bag, just like Zach said. Cillian Murphy's got it.
Well, and I think the Oscars have gotten better at trying to share the wealth equally throughout the different movies. As long as fucking Poor Things doesn't win Best Picture, I think we'll be fine.
Best Picture still Oppenheimer.
Yeah, I agree.
It's going to be interesting.
Now, Best Supporting Actress, I can see Divine Joy Randolph winning that.
Yeah, I think Lily
Gladstone's got Best Actress.
Best Actress. Up. Yeah. Christopher Nolan's got Best Director. So.
Exactly.
Why? And you guys aren't even going to have to watch the Oscars after our episode next week, because we're going to tell you our favorites plus the predictions. So why even tune in? We'll tell you everything. We got this. And we're probably going to be more entertaining next week too. And we're in separate rooms, so we can't go. If somebody starts talking about somebody else, we can't hit or slap like Will Smith did a few years ago. So
hey, we might go ahead and transport ourselves. Okay, fucking
be like, hold on a minute, I'm gonna drive over to your house real quick.
But yeah,
come to Kansas and get body slammed.
Favorite scenes for the holdovers. Jay, you kind of started with yours. Do you want to stick with those, or do you want to add one
Yeah, I'm
more?
gonna stick with the.
Okay.
I thought those were great. I thought the end scene, whenever he was sitting there drinking, he was at that crossroads where do I turn right or I turn left, and he just takes a swig of that drink, and it's just like fuck it, I'm going whatever way feels correct.
Yep.
Because by the end of the movie, he has no goal. He has no ulterior motive. He has nothing to drive him anymore besides that. What's a? It's a book, but what do they call it? The monograph.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
We haven't had this segment in a long time, but what do you guys think the damn it, Jay, you just said it. The
MacGuffin.
MacGuffin. What do you think the MacGuffin was?
The bottle. No, I'm just kidding.
The champagne of beers.
You can make an argument for the bottle
the beer he never
liquor.
got.
Yeah, because I mean that's one of the first things you see in the movie is they actually show a close up of that bottle, and that ends up being the last thing that you see towards the end of the movie. So yeah, that's true.
That's Chekhov's bottle.
Interesting.
It must go on.
Zach, what about you? You have a favorite scene or two?
Favorite scene, I'd say the Christmas party scene. I thought, like I said, you can make an argument that could be cut, but I think there are some good scenes in that. The first time you get to meet Paul and the kids, and he's just like disgracing them, insults left and right. And I agree with you, Jay. The newlywed scene is great. And something else that we really didn't talk about, but the after they go see Tully's father, and they have this like really sentimental moment of like, you're not your father, you're not going to be like that, you're your own man. I think that was very, very powerful. And then they follow that up with the Cherry Jubilee, and that's another great scene. So
I'd agree with you, Zach. The Cherry Jubilee scene is fantastic. It's a really depressing scene, but when they drive up to Boston and he goes up and sees his dad, Paul Giamatti's like, yeah, of course we can go see a cemetery. Come to find out it's not.
It's an insane asylum.
Yep. The for some reason when Paul Giamatti gets in trouble, you feel like you're in trouble. So the backlash of the Boston scene, the backlash of Boston just kind of is a favorite scene. And then if I had to pick one more, I would probably pick the first dinner scene. Because you don't get all the holdovers for dinner. I think you only get to see that one time, maybe two or three more times.
It is. It's only that one time. No, it's that one time, and they make that what's his name, Kurt Kuntz or whatever his name is. He makes fun of Mary. He's like, well, she should just get the fuck over it. And Paul Giamatti's character is like, you need to shut the fuck up. She can, you know what I mean?
Yep.
You have no idea what that woman's been through.
And then any scene that you kind of see Mary, but Mary's breakdown. I have it labeled as Mary's meltdown. That scene, I think that scene right there is what gets her the Oscar. So those are my favorite scenes. Ed, what about you?
I would have to say the first. I'm just going to call it the first rip scene. Kind of sets the tone for the movie, especially Paul Giamatti's character, how he's going to be with a lot of the kids most of the time. I would additionally say, kind of like I mentioned earlier, the scene where they're just kind of chilling in the street by the truck, and you first see the Christmas tree and the two guys carrying it, and they're like, "What are you doing with the Christmas tree?" And they're like, "Oh, we got it sold to us."
We bought it back from them. They don't need it now.
And you kind of see how some of the kids are. Interestingly enough, you got some slander and all that going towards one way, and you just kind of get a feeling for how the kids are. So I'd say those two scenes to me I like most.
I thought another one of the great jokes that hit really hard with me was when Tully, I think it was the scene where Tully and the kid was fighting, and Giamatti's like, all right, just like the Romans, one doesn't tell the truth, you all suffer, and until he's like, wow, I thought all the Nazis were still hiding in South America.
Well, see, making everybody suffer as a group. Juan probably knows this. My mom used to do that with me and my brother. If one got in trouble, we both got in trouble. So we kept each other's asses in line. And so,
It was like
seriously, my mom was like that. My mom was like that. If one of you fucks up, you both fuck up.
Wow.
Well, she got tired of raising two boys.
Oh.
The football team would be like that too.
No, great.
Yeah. Who got caught for this? Y'all all running suicides.
Bro, no. So there was a time in basics to where the guide on the troop flag got left behind at the DFAC or the cafeteria. And the guy who was the guide on bearer, pretty much he got asked 2 hours with senior drill sergeant and your ass gets smoked singularly, or 1 hour and everybody gets it. And he apparently chose just himself. But we got dropped plenty of times with each other. And trust me, if you had your fingers in certain areas, they were getting smashed by some other guy's boots. And it sucked ass. I had holes in the bottom of my palms from how many push-ups and all that crap that we did on both hands. And I mean, bleeding.
I didn't realize how much, since we've been talking about it, how much I actually have in common with the movie. You know, like I said, I was a holdover for Christmas. I went to visit my mom for Christmas. She said she couldn't handle me no more, so she sent me back to the boys' ranch. I don't know if Juan knows that or anybody knows that. I lived at a boys' ranch for about 8 months.
Oh, wow. I was going to ask Jay, is it, I mean, obviously this is a different experience, but like, was there similarities like with what Tully had to go through?
Very much so. Very much so. We had our own houses, and so it would be like certain kids, their parents, the school might have been in Edmond, but some of these kids lived in like Phoenix and Colorado and other places. So they never got to go home for Christmas. So yeah, the holdovers, they were the holdovers. And I was a holdover as well. So I was like, holy shit, I experienced this. And the teacher was a dick, or I should say our house parents.
And so this would probably be, and correct me if I'm wrong, but during the 90s, somewhere in the 90s that you got to experience this?
93, 94,
okay,
maybe 95.
Fair enough. Somewhere in that.
There's a boys' ranch in Edmond, Oklahoma. So,
Star rating. Zach, we'll start with you.
3 really great performances, strong direction from Alexander Payne. Even the cinematography was very good in this. Enjoyed this 1970s aesthetic. Like it opened up with the old 70s focus feature, and then like the MPAA rating for the movie. I thought that was really cool. Really great story. 3 damaged people learning from each other of how to move on from their traumas. I'm gonna give it a 9. Non-spoiler talk for next week. It will be in my best of list next week. So, what are you guys?
Everything you said, I couldn't have said it better. It's just powerful. Some good performances. Go check it out on the Peacock. I'm gonna give it an 8. Still a high rating. Loved it. I didn't have any issues with the second time, other than just a little slow pacing, like you said, Zach. There are some scenes you could take out. 8 stars for me. Ed, what about you?
I guess I'm going to be the dickhead of this episode. Sorry, but 6. I mean, I can see I can see the good parts of it. I just couldn't get into it. I don't know why, but I don't know. It just did not. Like I kept finding myself trailing off in different.
I had that problem last week, Ed, with Killers of the Flower Moon.
Fair enough on that, but that's a significantly longer movie. But yeah, I mean, I was trailing off a lot. So I mean, I don't know if I'm going to chalk it up to that or if it's just I didn't connect or both or whatever. So 6.
Jay, what about you?
I'm going to go with an 8. like you guys have said before, the cinematography, everything, the performances were great. But it seemed like I have seen this movie before. You know, Hard Nosed Teacher, Misunderstood Student, you know, and they finally come together at the end and they bond. You know, I've seen this movie before.
So it just felt rehashed.
A little bit.
I can understand that. For the first time this calendar year, we're going to get in some emails. Yeah, we're going to get in some emails real quick. If you guys haven't listened to us before, send them in at CINEMEN921. I will read either the name you send on that email head or the username. If you prefer the username, you guys usually put it in the subject matter. So, let's dig into some emails. Usually, I'll kind of just, if you guys haven't listened to before, or Jay, this is your first time, I'll kind of just read out the email aloud. And if it's a question, you guys can answer, or if it's just a statement, you guys can still put your 2 cents on the statement. Sarah97 said, "Loved your past lives conversation. It was definitely one of my favorites of 2023. Can't wait to hear all you guys' top 10 next week." Past Lives was a few weeks ago. If you guys want to check it out, go listen to it. Henry says, "I really enjoyed The Holdovers, giving this a 10. My single favorite movie of 2023.
Nice.
Jesse says, "Killers of the Flower Moon was so good, but 3.5 hours. I ask, do films really need that length? What's you guys' stance on long films?"
If you have a story to tell that's long, then tell it. If not, cut that shit down. We don't need extra fat. Zach, your turn.
You sum up perfectly, Jay. If the story needs it to tell, if the movie needs it to tell the story properly, that's fine. If not, then yeah, we can do a short theatrical cut and do like a director's cut when it hits Blu-ray.
See, that's where the mid 2000s, early 2000s, that's what they would do. They would sit there and they would release the theatrical cut on DVD and Blu-ray, and then they would have the director's cut later on, like with the Lord of the Rings. And those are my definitive movies right now. The Lord of the Rings director's cut, that's all I watch.
Peter Jackson's like, I enjoy that. I mean, he'll do like the theatrical, then he'll release like the extended edition if you want to see like more of the story.
You don't want to. Okay, this is sidetracking. Peter Jackson is one of my favorite movies of his, The Frighteners.
Oh,
have you guys seen that?
No.
Michael J. Fox.
Yes.
I own it. I just haven't watched it in a very long time.
Okay, Michael J. Fox plays a paranormal investigator that can actually see ghosts, and he sits there and takes the ghosts that are his friends and goes to different people's houses and makes it look like their houses are haunted. And so he shows up as a con man trying to get rid of the ghost. But there's actually someone out there killing off people in the town that looks like Death. And so that's the mystery of who is Death and why has Death come to the town.
Oh, okay.
Give it a look. Give it a watch.
Yeah.
It's fucking great.
I haven't watched it in a while.
Very familiar. Huh.
Came out in 96.
Valerie says, "The creator was so dull to me. No emotion, no character-driven story. 5. Enjoyed the podcast episode more than I did the actual movie."
Glad we could help that experience.
Jets fan 622 says, "The Holdovers is extraordinary. One of my favorite movies from last year. 9 for me." Gabriel says, "My top 5 Scorsese films in this order: 5, Shutter Island; 4, Gangs of New York; 3, Taxi Driver; 2, The Irishman; and number 1, The Departed." Again, if you guys have listened to last week's episode, send some more of those in. We'll talk about them again next week. Coco Chris says, "Can't wait for next week's episode. All the favorites and the best of shows are always my favorite. Can't wait to see what everybody's favorite actors and best films of 2023 are."
I can go ahead and I'll spoil this, that the movies for 2023 are only the ones that I've seen and that I enjoyed, that made me feel good.
There you go.
Okay. So
number one is Barbie.
No, I've never seen Barbie.
Just kidding.
You know, I saw that Ryan Gosling is going to perform Ken next week at the Oscars. He's singing. So.
I saw
You know,
That I Am Kid song.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kendall says Dune 2 is amazing. I'd love to hear you guys' review on his take on Blade Runner with
Oh, yeah.
2049. That sequel gets so much shit. Have you guys ever reviewed it, and what did you think about talking about it?
we have not.
We have.
I have not seen it.
I've only seen
Yeah.
Blade Runner 2049 once.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I'd like to talk about
I
that.
haven't seen Blade Runner.
That was a pretty good movie. You haven't seen the original Blade Runner or just 2049?
2049. I've seen the original Blade Runner, but it's been so long that I might as well
Yeah.
not have seen it.
same.
Yeah.
Yuri says my top 5 Marty Scorsese films: number 5, The Departed; number 4, Taxi Driver; number 3, Mean Streets; number 2, Casino; and number 1, Goodfellas.
I remember last week when we were all trying to name our top 5. Taxi Driver, we didn't have a place for it. It was like Taxi Driver was the odd man out.
Yeah, it was my honorable mention. Steven says Killers of the Flower Moon was amazing. 10 stars. Definitely want to see where it's at on some of you guys' lists. And then we'll finish off with Kyle. Kyle's top 5 of 2023 is. Usually I'll stop it and read it next week, but I think I'm gonna just ease right into it so we can see what one of them are. Number 5, Wonka. Number 4, Oppenheimer. Number 3, Barbie. Number two, Creed 3, and number 1, Killers of the Flower Moon.
Interesting. All right.
Well, I could tell you none of those are in my top 5.
So it's going to be interesting next week. We're talking on Oscar Sunday, March 10th, top 5 plus 5 2023 year-end review next week. I'm honestly kind of excited. I don't know,
Yeah.
A few weeks ago we talked about our worst of 2023 and we gave out the prestigious Dog Shit of the Year award. So next week is all positive, so we don't have to talk about worst films next week. So
yeah.
Should be
I will spoil
fun.
one thing for next week. One of my favorite performances, and I didn't even get to watch all the movie, was Jason Momoa in Fast X. That fucker ate up every scene he was in. He was a delight.
He's not lying. Jason Momoa, it's like he was a different person during Fast 10.
He's definitely that best part of the movie.
So I'll definitely be talking about him next week.
Should be fun to see what's on everybody's lists, who we liked, who we didn't like, and maybe what's in store for this upcoming calendar year. So I think before we get out of here, does anybody have anything any final nails in the coffin for the Holdovers?
No.
Go check it out on Peacock. Go see Dune Part 2 in the theater, and we'll see you next week for the 2023 review episode.
And if you're watching The Office, continue.
That will be true. Next week, biggest show of the year, 2023 top 5 plus 5, right here on another new episode of the Cine-Men Movie Podcast.